All right, I'll call the meeting to order. All rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I will make a motion to approve the minutes from March 25th as written.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor? Perfect.
You probably got to meet it last night.
I stole that one from Mike today, so we're good. Payroll and accounts are done. ADA. Okay, the ADA update. Work on the bathrooms at the community center has started. Removal of toilets and sinks in the ladies' room and change to ADA compliant. Need to raise the 2 sinks in the men's room for compliance and switch 1 toilet to a urinal. Still need to reposition privacy walls. Should be finishing up plumbing work this week. Dispensers and toilets have been installed at the town office. Ordered the pipe safety wrap for the sinks and trying to schedule the construction work of the clerk's counter, which would be the small recessed one on the end of the current counter. And contractors waiting on good weather to start the roof on the community center, then paving will be scheduled. So he's on with that. Okay. All right. Playground. Playgrounds were closed due to a viable legal threat of lawsuit. So in order to protect the town, we closed the playgrounds. So currently, I believe it was Thursday, talked to a few people to form a playground committee. I do have their appointment papers, so I'll make a motion that the select board creates the playground committee.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Perfect. So we now have playground committee. Committee members, myself, Mr. Day, Mr. Lanavera, Michelle Day, Willie Tracy, Bill Flynn, Cliff Cousins, Chad Pine, Danielle Katz, Sue Foster, and Melissa Brown. I thank everybody for taking this on. There's already information going around about it. Things have already happened. There was a meeting today with the state. Willie can fill us in on that. Willie, could you give us a brief on the what was transpired today with the state?
Sure. Today we met with Doug Beck, who's the Outdoor Recreation Director, Land and Water Program. They were part of the original grant that the playground funded the playground here in the first place. The town in 1987 applied for a grant. In 1989, the completion of the playground was completed with a 50% match from the town. The playground was last inspected by Doug Beck in 2016. At that time, he noted that there was some work needed on the playground. During our meeting today, we went over a number of different options moving forward, including let's see here, hold on a second. The options were to rehab the current playground, move the current playground, have the playground, obviously, first off, the playground will be evaluated for its safety. At that point, we'll talk about possibly rehabbing it or creating another recreational use of equal value. There are a couple other options we discussed. And we talked about a number of different things we can do moving forward. We're planning on having a committee meeting Monday at 3 p.m. to get a little more in depth with that. We got a lot of information today from him today. The members that were here, part of the committee, all took notes, and we're going to fill in the other committee members Monday. We definitely have taken this pretty seriously since the board had the mandatory closure. So we're looking to take care of this as soon as we can.
Thank you. All right, so everybody knows, I've already asked to have an article placed in the warrant for June for expenditure up to 180K out of general surplus for the new playground. So everybody knows where I'm getting the funding from is one of the things that I had been unaware of was revenue share from the state. I was under the impression that it was a monthly payment of like 20 to 28,000, somewhere around there. It's not, it's monthly. And we have 3 months left to go in this fiscal year, and we've already collected $196,944 from the state for revenue share. So this isn't a raise and appropriate article that I'm placing in the warrant. We do have the revenue sharing to offset the cost for the new playground. The playground that is in the rear by the ball fields, that grant was for what, 41,000? We had to raise and appropriate 41,000 for that.
Yeah, it was an $82,000 grant. The
Right.
town had to put in 41,000.
And that was over 25 years ago. So we got our money's worth.
36 years ago.
Yeah. So we definitely got our money's worth on it. So, yeah. Any questions on the playground? Yes, sir.
Not on the playground.
No, playground. These are questions for the playground. Yes, ma'am.
Well, just one quick question.
Yes, sir.
Is it the playground that just needs to be redone because it's starting to rot, or is it doesn't meet code, or what is the issue?
Don't know. The 29th is the lady from the state's going to come down and inspect it to do a certification on its safety and usability.
So we have to get rid of all of it? I mean,
Don't know. We won't know until that inspection happens.
Oh, okay.
Correct. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
This all stemmed from the Facebook post.
Yes.
Is that person here, do you know?
I don't know. I don't even know who the person is.
The one that was making all those comments on,
I don't know that person.
well, those people need to be here.
It's their choice.
Just, I get it, but it's aggravating for the rest of us. Anyways, well, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Did they feel that it was unsafe for their children, or what was the?
Well, I'll read what was placed. It was sent to me last Saturday. I don't do the the social media platform stuff. So, it was kind of concerning. I did speak to Frank, Vinny, Glenn. Let's see. When's the next selectmen's meeting? I'll be there to voice the opinions of half the town, since you guys apparently think the playground is not an issue. What about the blinking lights for the school? That I have no idea about, but actually somebody came in and gave me a quick brief on that. The PTA was doing some work with DOT at the Denmark Elementary School for flashing lights. But that's in Denmark. And it's a state road. The town has zero cognizance in that at all. So, yet here we are approving the community center to get updated. Ass backwards with no brains, I guess. Safety first. You'll wish you paid more attention to your town property playground when someone gets hurt and you're held liable, huh? Is that what it's going to take? So that is a viable legal threat. And it's our fiduciary duty as the select board to protect the interests of the town. Regardless if it was just one person, doesn't matter. That's all it takes. Because I can guarantee everybody in here, they would be, you can't place it there. There has to be full access. So how impressed would people be getting a supplemental tax bill to settle a lawsuit? And that's just the way I see it. It's our job to protect the town, mitigate liability as much as we possibly can. Don't think for 1 minute that it was a easy decision to close the playgrounds down. Not at all. But I am a firm believer in the best interest of the town so that we avoid a lawsuit, whether frivolous or not, is in the best interest of the town. So that's why I made that decision. I made that decision. So 100%.
So the assessment of it's gonna be done on the 29th.
Yes, the lady from the state of Parks and Recreation is going to come down, I guess. 10 a.m. I believe.
10 a.m.
Yep.
on Tuesday, the 29th.
Yep.
Catherine is the stewardess specialist for Doug Beck, and she is a certified inspector as well.
Perfect.
For playgrounds.
There was another hand up. Yep. Yes.
Are you talking, both playgrounds are closed, so you're gonna work on both playgrounds?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
What I honestly, you said this place. Honestly, when I came in last week and I spoke with Willie and Lynn, I spoke with Melissa Brown, cursory. Thank you for volunteering, Melissa. I thought I saw you come in here tonight.
Yeah, I was
Perfect.
hiding things, not red.
Thank you. Very much appreciated. I would really, it would be my want as a taxpayer that the playground that is on the side of the community center, that field, become a large playground. One of the concerns out here is if there's kids on that wooden playground and there's a foul ball that clears the dugout or the backstop, they could get hit. It's backed right up to the ball field. So let's do away with that hazard and just make this a large one with multiple things that are available as a playground. You know, that would be my request. You know, let's make it a big one. Get some benches out there so that, you know, old people like me that have young kids have a place to sit because we're old and fat and can't keep up, you know, but make it large and available for the kids. I was surprised at hearing there are a lot of kids that come from the surrounding areas because of the playground. I didn't know that. I was really surprised to hear that. So, yep. So, yes, sir.
One of the other things that the committee is looking into is making it all inclusive, which is ADA accessible. So somebody will have a swing for someone in a wheelchair, merry-go-round for someone in a wheelchair. So it's gonna be accessible for anybody to use it.
Glad you mentioned that. This playground will be ADA accessible. That's not a request. That's not a hope. That's a, yes, it will be ADA accessible. Yes, 100%. Yes.
I just want to say I really like the idea of making a bigger playground on the side. I think that's a great idea, and having it accessible. Those are great ideas. And I don't even have to make it in a threat on Facebook. I'm just going to tell you here. Good idea.
Yes, sir.
Will that have a certain setback from the road out there, Ricky? You know, to the field there?
A setback from the
You know,
road.
like, so it's not right out, like where there's the fire hydrant stuff out there, you know, back further to the field?
I don't know. I would think it's gonna be put in the proper location once the committee gets going and looking around and figuring out the space that's available. Between the Parks and Recreation folks at the state, there's a few companies that have already reached out to us. Maine Playground is one of them out of Bath, that we can contact, up and down, shoot ideas, monetary things of that nature. So, but the committee can handle reaching out to those folks and finding out what would work well over there as a layout, and safety of, well, any playground is paramount. So I'm sure they'll look into that. Anything else on the playground, folks? Perfect, thank you. All right, department heads. Ms. Boyle.
I don't really have any updates.
Today's Beth's birthday, by the way.
And Barbara's.
And who? Oh,
Happy birthday, Barbara.
happy birthday, old lady. Nice.
You'll appreciate my husband's card to me. He had written in it 25 more years and you can be on a Smucker's wait.
You might get away with calling old man. Old lady,
Oh, no.
you're pushing.
Thanks.
I'll make sure you go out with me. That was, you know, assault me. Animal control.
We had, the dog at large, cat issue, staying on the state of Maine online for an hour. We do an hour each month. And we've had a found dog on Pig Street, a turkey, Big Walking Pond.
Did you find out whose it was?
No,
No?
I did find it at home because I done this long enough that we know that the owner's not gonna come forward, and if it does, the person I found the home for, she will
Get
give it
back.
to the owner. Just for the guy that don't have no turkeys and no pets, doesn't have to put up with the turkey. Can't make it up. That's it.
All right, chief.
We had a grass fire last week at a carbon monoxide lab, smoke at a residence and 6 medical calls. We'll be doing our annual training April 21st for all the firefighters. That's mandatory for everybody in the fire service. I held off removing the tracks on the UTV 2 weeks ago because they said we'll get 5 to 9 inches of snow. So I decided not to take them off. And I'll be pulling them Thursday and getting the rig ready to go. It is getting grass fire season. We already had one. I've been meeting with, starting today, I met with one architectural firm and I'm meeting with 2 tomorrow on a building project. See how we're gonna make out for that. I was really impressed with the one we talked to today.
Which one was that?
That was Mitchell Associates.
Harriman's coming tomorrow, right?
No, Harriman was today.
Harriman's today.
Harriman was today. Tomorrow is Wood Company in the morning, at noon, and then Port City is at 6 here tomorrow night. They're coming up.
They're doing it here. Not
They're coming here. And still working on a emergency operations plan, a lot of changes. That. Oh, I did have to order a new bumper for our new engine. When they took it to the grass fire, it went the wrong way. Went down, backed up, hit pole. It was a pole buried in a partial pole buried under a snowbank.
At
Crushed up the rear bumper.
least it's just a bumper.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I tried to pull it, my brain came out. I pulled it away from the body, but there's no way it's breaking. It is solid. So, we'll have a new one.
Sweet. Health officer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure if I should start with this one, but what the heck, I'm going to. As I was just reminded a few moments ago, and this is safety officer talking. I want to call your attention again to the number written on the wall above where it says fire extinguisher. And in all seriousness, either take the damn sign down or start paying attention to the numbers of people who congregate in this room at one time. That's.
How many we got?
32 plus you guys.
Yeah, so safety officer has reported
Got a warning?
on duty. Okay,
You gonna give us a written warning?
we'll talk about the fine.
Okay, perfect.
Several years ago, there was an instructor that came down here and physically did an ergonomics type session with the employees of the building. I think today, with all the changes that we've gone through, the only one left that would probably remember participating in that would be perhaps Michelle. I know she worked here then. However, since that time, as evidenced by the building that we're sitting in now, a lot of change has taken place. The employees are different. The offices are set up differently, where there used to be 2 people, now there's 3, where there used to be a desk, now there's file cabinets, da, da, da. The state, the Safety Works people, all of that crowd up there says it is mandatory that clerical people get at least an initial training in this matter. If you're sitting at your desk, make sure you don't hold the phone tilted like that, or whatever the case may be. I have made arrangements with Safety Works. They have an instructor that is gonna come down here on Monday, is it the 28th? It's the last Monday of the month. And I would ask a favor of the selectmen if we could close the office from noon on. The woman says that she's gonna need 2 or 3 hours of time talking, and then physically going around looking, et cetera, et cetera. It's only gonna be the one time, at least for some time in the future, so. I would ask that the office hours be curtailed for that particular day so that the employees can all devote all their time to it.
Done.
Beautiful, thank you.
What time was that bill?
She says she's gonna start around noon time, maybe 12:30 or so. This has nothing to do with that class, but I do wanna take the time. Simple terms, when I was serving on the Board of Selectmen, there would be things on television or in the newspapers or whatever about elections. Oh, they gotta watch out for that, they gotta watch out for this, and da, 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 da. So I was always a bit concerned about how are we doing with an election? So I started asking if it would be okay if I came down here the night of the election, usually sitting in the back there, try and keep my mouth shut. And I started some time ago. I have sat through the count, so to speak, for a presidential election, a presidential and a state election combined. And just recently, the town, just town business stuff. So I've seen at least one of each kind of election you can name. And I want to tell you, if there's other communities that do it better, I'd like to see who the heck they are. The individuals that we have in charge of elections in this town know their business, and they have volunteers, some of whom are here tonight,
that are essential, but ever so good at what they do. There's no shitting around. They come in, they do what they're supposed to do, they do it in a professional manner. The other night, polls closed 8 o'clock, I was on my way out to get in the car, the results had already been posted on the front door, and it was like 2 minutes past 9 or whatever. That's pretty damn good. They don't fool around. And they're very, very good representatives of our community. So I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to the people who do our elections in the town of Brownfield. Anyone whose names begin L through Z, get the hell out of here.
Public Works.
The door for the salt shed got delivered today, and they're gonna put it together Thursday and Friday. Got the new propane heater in the cop shop, got that hooked up and running. Talked to Matt Streeter today. I guess that Fenn Hill job's gonna start in August. Rob, who Rob is, he just said Rob is gonna call me about flagging trees.
Robbie
The
Drew.
trees gonna be cut.
It's Robbie Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I told him I'd be down there to check that out with him. Then he called me back and was asking about is Fenn Hill Road open? I don't know. So I went and checked that out, and it's not, but me and Buddy gonna go see what we do tomorrow. So they can get trucks in there and get trees. We're gonna go on the Ford side, so we're gonna have to go down that the hill, it's all shaded. Let's see what else, and they got the bridge ordered for it. Matt said all the paperwork's been signed, all the contracts.
Yeah, we received that today. We have a copy of everything.
Okay. Yeah. Let me see what else. I said, I started an inventory for the public works, it's in that book there. I don't know if that's something that you guys like or don't want, or you can change it. On the back of the pictures of VIN numbers and what they are.
Could shine the wheels a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great. Damn, that's back in your day, isn't
Like a family album.
Sure, yeah. I like that the public works director is in there smiling with all of them. Yeah.
A bunch of
No, I just looking at
files we have, some highway files I haven't gotten me yet. Got to get, I hope that'll work enough.
That works.
It's good to me. Well, pictures don't lie.
That's what I said. I don't know if we're gonna keep it here and here or give it, you know, if anybody has questions.
Sure, why not? And Patty has all kinds of space on that.
Is there a public works, is there a public works folder?
No, that'll go in on the
Administrative?
Yeah.
We can react stuff or sell or give away something. I think that's all I've got.
Rec director.
Rec updates. This past week, we worked on spring sports schedules for majors and minors, softball, baseball, t-ball, and rookies. We're still getting numbers together. They haven't started yet, but we did make it out on the field this week. Had a few practices. We've been practicing inside for a few weeks now, so night's practice was canceled. It was a bit cold and snowy. But upcoming, we have the Easter egg hunt next Saturday and dessert auction. So we've got a number of volunteers that are making yummy desserts, and we're going to have a dessert auction during the Easter egg hunt. So 9:45 a.m. people can come in, place bids on desserts, and at 10:30, after the Easter egg hunt ends, the winning bidders will go home with desserts. So that's something they did in the past, and we wanted to bring it back. We're excited to see what happens with that on the 19th, Saturday. Tonight and next Monday, we have open house for cardio kickboxing, regular boxing. We've got a couple guys that are doing an open house and looking to offer classes for that. So if you couldn't make it tonight at 6, you can make it next Monday at 6 p.m. and check it out. There's no yoga this week, but we'll fire back up next week. Besides that, just a couple more things on the park that we didn't touch on. So I reached out to Ben Schaefer Recreation, and I'm scheduled to meet with him tomorrow. He's just gonna offer a second opinion that we will use with the direction of the state when they come out on the 29th. And we will meet this next Monday. We'll bring that all together to create a vision for the park. And then after that, we will probably have a public hearing or informational hearing, just to see if anyone wants to come and give their visions or thoughts on what would be best for the town. We'd like to do that. Begin 1st of May. That's it.
May I ask the boxing coach? It's not.
I asked the same thing.
Oh, no, okay, all right.
I asked the same thing. Yeah, he's not bathing in the
He
same.
used to splash around in the same, yeah.
Funny. All right, we have the general assistance quarterly report. One application was received in February, request rent, amount received $733. Payment was sent directly to the landlord. Thank you, Mr. A. We have a Town of Brownfield cash handling policy, purpose and scope. This policy outlines the procedures for handling town cash. The term town cash refers to currency, coins, checks, credit, charge, and debit card payments, electronic payment methods, and any other negotiable instruments payable to the town. Authority of the town treasurer. Town treasurer is solely responsible and is authorized to establish procedures for the receipt, handling, and deposit of town cash by town officers and employees. This includes documenting all transactions, regularly reporting to the treasurer, authorizing and rescinding the authorization for town officers and employees to receive or handle town funds as part of their employment or departmental activities, inspecting departmental cash records, including identifying overages and shortages, reviewing departmental practices and procedures for handling town cash, contracting with agents to collect town cash and oversee their collection processes. The treasurer may enforce these guidelines through inspections and has the authority to revoke the authorization of any officer or employee who fails to comply with the established procedures. All town officers and employees responsible for handling town cash are required to submit the funds to the treasurer daily. Motion we accept and institute this immediately.
I've got questions on, part where says, authorizing and rescinding the authorization for town offices. Yeah, does that include administration, selectmen?
Authorization for town officers and
those
employees to
town
receive or
officers, right?
receive handle town funds. Well, we have to go through the town treasurer when we get put on the bank account. She's the one that submits the paperwork for us.
Receiving handle town funds. So that's just for receiving and handling town funds,
Correct.
right? But it doesn't have anything to do with selling property or anything. We don't need to be authorized by treasurer. Okay, and
This is,
yeah,
the town treasurer doesn't.
no, I know, I just wanted to
have authority
clarify.
over
Yeah.
us.
Inspection has, so town treasurer can also revoke the authorization of any officer receiving anything,
Correct.
which includes a selectman.
So I would. When was the last time you received anything for the town? In any, yourself, myself, or yourself, as a selectman, when have we ever received a check, cash, credit card, any type of payment instrument as selectmen?
You got a paycheck.
No. What have we received? What have we taken in for the town?
Well, the only question I have is that the authority to revoke it, that's all, yeah.
Right.
So the treasurer has the authority to revoke the authorization of any officer. Okay.
Correct.
So,
okay, so you're worried about the verbiage of authority to revoke the authorization of any officer or employee, but you're stopping right there.
well, not the employee, well.
No, you're
fails to-
saying.
Fails to comply with the established.
Okay,
procedures,
so,
right.
you know, at this point, as a selectman, I've already signed this. I
Yeah, I
have
know,
zero
you and Frank
zero
signed it,
problems
yeah.
with it. For the simple fact that it states who fails to comply.
Right,
Well, if you're failing to comply, your ass should get slapped anyway.
well, the thing is, though, I mean, it should be, I feel the selectman should be the top authority.
Well, when it comes to the money, that elected official who is elected
Right,
has that cognizance over the selectmen.
that's, I'm just trying to clarify.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah,
That's an elected position.
right,
She has just as much authority as a select board.
okay,
100%. If anybody doubts that, please, I implore you to get the elected officials handbook from the state of Maine and peruse that.
so if
Because
anybody
that
asks.
comes up with a
right.
lot of stuff.
So if anybody asks me from outside, definitely the treasurer has the authority to revoke it if there's any infractions.
If we
Yeah,
do not
any-
comply
Right,
with the statutory requirement, then yes.
okay,
So,
good,
so here's an example.
good, okay.
Say we have like a Home Depot card. So
Uh-huh.
what if
Yeah,
one of the select
Depot.
board had the Home Depot card and they went rogue and. was
Oh, yeah, I
buying
know
all kinds of
what you
stuff?
mean, yeah,
I could say, hey, no,
right,
you can't be doing that and take that card away from
right,
them. That's all.
yeah.
You know, if we're only talking about,
Keep an eye on it.
yeah, you know, that's just an example of stepping in and taking
Uh-huh.
control of something that's out of control.
Right, I just wanna
As
make
far
sure
as the
that
funds go.
it's clear about if someone asks me
Yeah.
about the authorization revoking it.
Chair, if I may, not to interrupt.
Question?
It says employees must hand in daily,
Mhm.
and you got the guys over at the dump that take cash on the weekends. And I don't know how they get to that to her daily. And I don't want them getting tied up and being shut off because it wasn't done daily.
Well, they take money in on the,
They take it in daily on the weekends, that
Yeah.
would require you to go to the dump and take the cash from them on the weekends.
Mhm.
I don't think we wanna commit you to that kind of time on the weekend.
Let's see where it says daily.
It did say daily, so like all of the cash drawer has to be closed out daily, is basically what that's referring to.
One thing, if they got like a bank, a locked bank that they lock daily, so this is one day, this is the next day, but they gotta have a process to do that.
All right, so let's make a correction and just get rid of the word daily. Done. 4/8/25. There's my motion. Good with that?
You take it daily, turn it into weekly.
No, you get rid of daily, then it doesn't matter, because the treasurer sets the policy. Simple as that. I want to be clear on this policy here, okay? This is strictly a courtesy by the elected treasurer by doing this, okay? She doesn't have to do this. She has graciously brought it to the select board for us to be part of that policy and instituting it. However, she is elected, she can do it. She doesn't need our permission. She doesn't need to talk to us about it. She has that legal purview to do just that. So this right here, we don't have to do. So I'll make the motion, we accept and institute this immediately with the one revision that has been annotated. All in favor?
Did somebody second?
Yes.
Okay. Didn't hear the second. Thanks for bringing us up.
Okay.
Now I know how
Thank
to
you.
answer people.
Yes, yeah.
Judy McAlee.
Yes.
Library, I have an email. I need to make a motion on that. Bear with me, I gotta find the email. From John Bliss. Sorry for the delay. Would estimate the cost of marking the library fire department boundary to be 500. Just need to know which line they want marked, the one we show on our survey or the one shown previously on the Thorn plan. I'll make a motion that the town pays for that, Bliss and Associates, for that boundary discrepancy between the library and the town property for the public safety building. So I'll make that motion now. Second. All in favor? Perfect. So.
Well, I just have one question. That
Yep.
It's not which line is correct.
Mhm.
It's which is the correct line.
Correct. That's why we're doing that.
Okay, that, it sounded like you were, like he was saying, which one does the library want us to say is
No,
correct?
that'll all be a discussion with you guys, you and probably, I would probably say code enforcement. Like that.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Thank you, Mr. Rick.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Okay. We will hereby start the public hearing for the Community Enterprise Grant. Time at 6:16, 6:17, 6:15, something like that. Mr. Egan will be doing the public hearing. So please direct all questions to him. Good evening, Mr. Blake. Take care.
Thank you.
Approximately last, end of summer, last fall, select board decided that they were going to give a contract out to paint the community center
and also to extend the roof over the ADA ramp. And after that meeting, I mentioned to Rick at the comprehensive plan committee, one of the strategies was to look for funding to do improvements to the community center, whether it's inside or outside. And he thought it was a good idea, so we looked into it. We got in touch with the state. We found out the Department of Economic and Community Development had a block grant program. And we got in touch with Terry Ann Holden, who heads up the block grant program, and asked her about funds that were available. Anybody who wants a copy of the program statement for 2025, it's up here. And it's not a bad idea to take one because there's about 12 different programs for community development in there. And I'm not an expert on it, but they tell you in there basically what the parameters are for different programs. It might be to repair affordable housing, it may be to address infrastructure for affordable housing. So, if you want to take a look at it, you might want come up with an idea that you want to go to the select board with for grant purposes. What I'd like to read to you is, and this is from the section 5 of MRSA, Maine Revised Statutes Annotated 13072. The Office of Community Development shall assist municipalities in planning for and achieving economic growth and development, while at the same time preserving and protecting their resources and assets. To achieve this purpose, the department, through the office, shall strive to remove barriers to balanced economic growth and provide planning, technical, and financial resources to municipalities to enhance development. Under 13073, you'll find this program statement, and it goes into detail as far as what's available. Each year it's a little bit different, but when I got in touch with the state, Terry Ann Holden, I asked her, I explained to her that we were going to be doing some painting, we were going to extend the roof, and that we might need a new roof. The painter had told us that there might be lead in the paint that's on the building now, so there might be a need for mitigation. A lot of the siding, if not all of it, should be replaced. If you go and take a look, you'll see that some of the textured 111 that's around the windows is starting to curl and peel. And when I was discussing this with her, she said, well, if you're gonna paint it and we're gonna pay, we're gonna provide some money, we wanna make sure that the paint's going on, proper siding. And I do have to say this department is extremely helpful. Terry Ann Holden, I didn't know anything about this process, and some of it, as you can imagine, is a bit confusing. What do they really mean? What do they really want? And every step of the way, I've been able to send information to her. She'd look at it and she'd say, yes, that's correct, or add this or add that, or check this off, or do whatever. So it was, it's been extremely helpful. It's basically a three-step process. The first process is a letter of intent, which we had to have submitted in February of this year. And we did that. Lynn Boyle helped quite a bit on getting that taken care of. And then on February 27th, we received approval from the State of Maine Department of Economic and Community Development, telling us that we could then proceed with the next step, which is the application. And the application's pretty involved. There's a point scoring system. It's basically 100 points broken down into three categories, 40, 40, and 20. And they ask you questions, they tell you, they want to make sure that the word gets out. Now, one thing that I should mention to you is that this grant has some objectives that you have to meet.
And as it states here, all community development block grant funded activities must meet one of 3 national objectives of the program. These objectives are benefit to low and moderate income persons. That's probably the primary one, and it seemed to be the one that Terry and Holden mentioned the most. And how do we know if we are? Well, there's federal data that, and she was the one who supplied this to us. We had a kind of a tough time going to the website and actually finding, like, where this information was. In the town of Brownfield, 56.5% of the families in town are low to moderate income. So we qualified because you had to have just over 50% in order to qualify. So, so we were on our way. We could submit the letter of intent. The letter of intent basically wants you to supply some photos of the work that you are contemplating doing. And in this particular request, we did list the painting and we did list the roof, and we designated them as funds that already were allocated. So they know that we have the 25% because the one contract I think is 29,000 and change, and the other one is 17,000 and change. So, and I should mention the most money that you can get out of this program is $100,000. And typically, looking at their, what they've given in the past, they usually give out about 50,000. And here's a very, I found interesting component of this. When I asked her how many grants they gave out last year, she said 6. So I figured it was highly competitive. And I said, how many towns applied? She said 6. So the year before, 4 towns applied, 4 towns got money. And I asked her why, and she said it's because of the paperwork process. The letter of intent takes a lot of time. The application takes a lot of time. There's a narrative that you have to answer, and it can't be longer than 4 pages. It has to be a certain font. It has to have certain borders. Kind of seems like they're doing that because they've probably got a whole array of submittals. You have to show that you have to have a public hearing, which we're doing tonight. And that application is due this Friday by 4 o'clock by email. And the only 2 things that we needed to do is have this public hearing, number 1. And number 2, I'm going to be talking to the Friends of Rec. And they're going to be, in a sense, like the primary, if you want to look at it this way, the low moderate income and the rest of the citizens in town, they'll be the primary recipients. But it's good to let them know, since, really they help Willie with, organizing programs and fundraising especially. So anyway, once I get that information, just that I attended it.
All right.
We'll submit that to the department. That pretty much sums it up. The next step after that, if our application is accepted, and even though they say that you don't really, there's certain things you have to submit, so you're going to get a certain amount of points. But it does seem like the more points you get, the more money you're likely to get. I guess just because you've proven to them that there's a real need, and so we'll see what happens. After that happens, there's a third step, and that's the development process. And if you take one of these pamphlets, you're going to read in there under C4 that we're supposed to hire a certified administrator for this project. And Terry Ann Holden has confirmed in writing that we don't need to do that. They did away with that. So what we would do is we would administer amongst ourselves, because we don't want to hire somebody and spend money. So we'll be okay there. That's just a clarification. So, that's pretty much it. The application will go in, we'll keep our fingers crossed, and then monies won't be available until July 1st. And then we need to come up with a plan for getting all the work done. two things, we have to go out to bid. And right away, that makes it sound like we have to get 3 bids, but I was told, as long as we make an effort to get 3 bids, we're okay. And then the second thing is, all work has to be done prevailing wage, which they, you know, they have a paperwork system that the contractors will have to submit. And when we do meet with the contractors, we'll tell them, make sure you include time in there, because it will take an extra amount of time for them to not just submit an invoice to our treasurer, Lynn, but also to account for it when that goes onto the state for them to approve the invoice. So it's a good program. It's a nice spot. They do it every year. We can apply every year. There's certain grants we can apply for, and they mentioned that in here if we're applying for this one. So it's a nice program, and if we get the money, it'd be nice to be able to spend it over there at the community center and start to get that looking good. Painting has definitely been awarded, and the roof. So we'll see where we can spend the rest of the money. Maybe a new roof, new siding, certainly. And here's an interesting part. There's a good chance that the paint on the building right now has lead in it. And the painter is gonna test it, and he'll let us know. If it doesn't, well, that's good. We don't have to worry about it. If he has to remove it, it's an ordeal. He has to tent whatever section he's working on. He has to remove the lead. He has to wear a hazmat suit, blah, 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 so forth and so on. But the carpenter goes in and takes off the panels. He just takes off the panels and gets rid of them accordingly. So there's a big difference there. But we'll keep you apprised of what's going on. If the application gets accepted, and it'd be nice to see the community center spruced up. So if you have any questions, Tom.
So what you're planning on doing, there's 2 ways of looking at this. What it sounds like is trying to patch the building so you get a few more years out of it versus trying to re-side it.
No, we've asked for money to re-side it.
Okay,
And not
so
the whole building.
No, but if you can do one side at a time or whatever grant money comes in, if you side over that, you don't have to remove the lead paint.
That's a possibility. And, like, it all depends on how that would work out. Like, if you put something over something, it makes it proud of that surface that's there, and it might cause additional work, whether it's around windows or wherever. So if we can remove it, like, I don't see that as a major cost. Major cost will be, applying new siding.
Well, if you put new siding on, and I've seen this over 30 years, the first thing everyone does is put new siding on and then realize that the windows are junk and the trim around them is rotten. So if you're gonna put anything new on for siding besides just patching it, it's a waste of time unless you change the windows.
Windows over there are fine. There's no problem with the windows.
Oh,
I don't know that I know that there's people in town who know how old they are, but if you go over and look at them, the windows in the old classrooms are fine.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know how many houses like that worked on, where someone puts replacement windows in, and then wants the siding on the house changed, and all the trim on the windows are rotten.
That's right.
And so unless the window trim outside can be covered, changed, or is in good shape.
Well, I'll tell you, I would appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody else would, if you would go take a look at it and give us your opinion. And there's other people in town too who could do that, but I'd appreciate it if you, because you've got that experience.
No, I'd be more than happy to look at it.
Yeah, we do.
What's that?
We do.
Okay.
We got the experience. If it needs changing, do it all at once.
Exactly. And also depending on the pot of money that we have.
Exactly.
Judy.
What's that? What'd you say?
I said it depends on the pot of money that we have to.
Oh, sure, money's always.
Right, but we're not gonna walk backwards on this.
It's not walking backwards.
No, we gotta fix it while if it needs fixing, we do it.
Yes, and
We'll do a good evaluation of it, and then we'll figure out what needs to be done now. For instance, we may say, forget the roof.
Yeah.
Or we may say, no, the roof is more important, but we'll come to those conclusions.
Right.
It's a good point.
but we're not gonna walk backwards.
No,
No, so it sounds like you're patching it more than.
Right.
That's right. Well, that's fine. If you want to just patch it, that's
Joe,
one
I
thing.
just wanted to
I'm
say
trying to get an
that,
idea. as to what
excuse me, you called on me. You got your point. Okay. I just want to thank you for all the hard work that you put in, taking the effort and the time to do this when other towns apparently don't, if you're going 4 or 6 doing it. So anyway, thank you. Joe.
you're welcome. And, you know, Lynn's been heavily involved with this and,
It was never involved.
yeah, and, comprehensive plan, you know, we knew that some work needed to be done and we state in the comprehensive plan that, you know, like we were gonna look at other avenues because we have the grant, which we had a 25%, we have a 25% obligation also. So we wanted to see if we could, you know, find other sources of money rather than apply for another federal grant. Anybody else? All right, thanks very much, everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, so
You've done some of this work before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
Sorry.
I thought it's good, it's good either.
so we're gonna hit up the correspondence folder.
You're here, that's it.
Well, got mine. Got mine here.
Okay, so first thing is, there's been a minor change to the town of Brownfield social media policy and procedure. And it was simply to add the town clerk as one of the administrators. So I'll make deputy. So I'll make a motion, we accept it with the change. All in favor? Perfect. Okay, we got the cleaning estimates for fiscal year 26, which will be put into the draft warrant. For the town office, 9,000, town garage 3, and community center 9. That's the first page. This is the first page for that. Not sure how to work this because this has to go through town meeting. So we can't sign a contract until they say, yeah, we can spend the money.
Correct, yeah.
Discuss that. All right, that's signed. Very good. Okay, there was a question some weeks ago on how much legal has been expended on the dog ordinance and Blueberry Lane. And the total I have is 3861.
Does that include the town's time, the town?
No.
Office house, the
This
time,
is legal,
Just legal.
strictly legal. Yes, ma'am.
No, the selectmen's time or anything, so it doesn't
No.
include that. Oh,
No.
but sure.
Bernstein, sure. They're not legally obligated to answer any of our questions. They no longer represent the town.
I'm just asking
Correct. No.
what it included.
Tip, from Drummond Woodson. 532 Old County Road was essentially tax acquired, but the family reached out and the treasurer should be receiving payment this week. So that will go back to the rightful owners. Okay, Maine DOT bridges, we haven't got that far yet. Okay, Brownfield community sign. Good afternoon, Vinny. First, let me commend you for standing up for the taxpayers of Brownfield regarding the new $32,000+ sign. I'm not putting names out. Name and I live up on High Vista. We have talked to you several times before. I think it is totally outrageous for this little town to waste that amount of taxpayer money on a sign for the town to post things. I have looked on the town site for the complaint comment link to send in my thoughts, but I do not see it. If you could let me know how to find that, I would appreciate it. Maybe it's time the town votes in new representation that is a little more thoughtful when it comes to spending taxpayer monies. There's that one. We have,
By the way, we got an open
Yes. Another one, a digital sign. I'd like to express my concern regarding the decision to install a digital sign in front of the town office. Whatever might be gained in terms of utility would be dwarfed by the loss of our town's charm and beauty. What makes Brownfield special is that it has not gone the way of Freiburg or Conway, which have become garish and ugly. For something that will so drastically change the look and feel of the town, there should be a public vote. If a majority of residents want a digital sign, so be it. If not, then this highly conspicuous change would constitute a betrayal of public trust. New sign for a cost of $37,000 plus $4,000 should have gone to a vote. I feel the money could have been better utilized. I'm not happy about the decision of spending $30,000 to $36,000 of taxpayer money on a digital sign. We need so many other things. This amount of expenditure should be up to the people to decide. I believe spending $40,000 plus for a sign or anything should go to the town to vote on this. Let this go to the voters to decide. Okay, so I will reference these. The first one that I read, folks, actually spoke to that gentleman. Last Wednesday or Thursday in the hallway. He caught me in the hallway. Did have a discussion with him. This one's marked concern. Okay, noted. So I believe 1, 2, we had 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we're up to roughly 15 complaints on the sign. So I will address first off this one and this one. Again, folks, I'm not using names. But wait, I'll get your questions. But I just want to make sure that everybody fully understands. Now, I read their bodies entirely. I didn't leave anything out but names. The sign isn't $40,000, folks. I don't care what was in the paper. It's wrong. 32,206. That's what was voted on. So everybody, coming up and they're putting out these numbers. No, 32,206, folks. Okay. So to go on with that, out of that, the money, okay, the sign comes with a warranty. It's 10 years, correct?
It's 2 years parts and 5 years later.
Right. So do the math, folks. We already had this discussion. Okay. I hear you. We're up to 15-ish people that have complained about the sign. That's still not enough for a petition. Sorry if I'm disappointing you. Honest to God. I try very hard to do a good job here and look out for the majority of the community. I get it. One thing I would like to ask is that every person that has put in a complaint or concern about that digital sign, please come in and give us a solution to the problem. I can't say it enough. The gentleman that I spoke to last week here in the hallway, I don't like the sign. I just don't like it. I don't like driving to Conway or Freiburg and seeing those digital signs. It's just, no, I like this hick town, quote unquote, which is great because I feel like a hick. So it works out well. It was complimentary. Posed a question to him. Give me a solution to the problem that the information isn't getting to the taxpayers. Well, I didn't even know about the committee or the meetings or anything like that. It went on for 6 months, and it was whenever we had anything to do with the sign, it was brought up in session in a selectmen's meeting, which is open to the public. Ask the question. Give me a solution, please. Please give us a solution, folks. Can't ask you enough. You got a problem, bring us the problem and the solution. The worst thing that's going to happen is we're going to talk about it and see if we can figure out how to resolve it. That's the worst thing that's going to happen. but it doesn't happen. Because I've yet to have anybody that I've posed that question to provide me a resolution to this problem. They don't have one. They don't have a resolution to it. So why are you complaining about it? If you don't have a fix to the problem, why complain? Give me a resolution, folks. And that for everything, anything that's going on in the town, please provide us with a resolution. Please.
Couple things. These people that have sent the, what's it called?
Communication form.
Communication form. Well, they got a copy of the communication form to fill out, correct?
Yes.
Did they hear about it on selectmen's meetings? Did they hear it on, did you
Don't know.
see it on the website?
Don't know. Only one of them was an email.
Okay.
Only one of them was an email.
How do they even know about it unless someone went out and solicited the issue?
Don't know. Couldn't tell you.
15 people? That's pretty sad.
I don't know anybody that solicited it.
I think you were running around telling people.
I wasn't running around telling people. I mean, that email was sent to me without
On
being,
their own,
Yeah.
submitted these, what do they call them? Communication forms.
yeah. People come up and ask me at the post office, what's going on? I tell them, but I didn't solicit anybody to send an email. That was sent to me. And then I forwarded it to the selectmen because I thought, pardon?
No,
I didn't
just the
solicit
one.
them.
Just
It was only the first one was an email.
the email was forwarded. That's the only one that was not on a communication.
Yeah, I mean, it was just sent to me and I didn't solicit any of them, believe me.
How you like my-
And there's other people that come up and ask me about stuff, other things, and I talk to them. I tell everybody they should come to the meetings. I tell everybody they should come and get appointed to the committees. Because, the same people are on the same committees. It'd be nice to have a mixture, a diversity. I hate to use that word now, it's not popular. But it's, it'd be great to have different people on everything,
And what's done is done. I mean.
Well, yeah, I'm not out as a vigilante going out, bringing heat about the sign.
Sorry
I
about
spoke
that.
with 2 people that you communicated with, and you gave them totally wrong numbers. And they still believe it.
Well, yeah, the numbers are, there was one set of numbers, the 36,000 was if the sign company did the whole project, okay? That included the cement footing, the top sign that Chad's gonna do, but so that included everything, 36.
You still gave them wrong information.
Well, yeah, I had people ask me what's going on, I give them information, then Rick corrected me about the 32, and now people ask me and I tell them it's 32.
People still believe your first numbers, because I've spoken to them.
Well, I can't do, I can't change people's, I mean, you can't, if people get an idea in their head, whatever it is, whether it's that, or whether they think I'm out soliciting things, I can't change their mind.
You gave the numbers,
I gave the numbers and I give corrections now if they ask me, yeah.
but the damage is already done.
The damage is, what damage? I don't understand.
Giving wrong numbers, wrong.
Well, that's not a damage. The damage is,
Really?
if people don't want to change their minds, that's the damage.
Did you go back to everybody and say, and put everything in paper saying I did everything wrong as far as numbers?
I didn't solicit the people to begin with. I don't know who, I didn't take down their names and everything, so people in conversation. People ask for conversation about lots of stuff. And sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes they're wrong. But, it's not that I'm trying to do anything discriminatory on the sign. I just told them when I had the information at the time, because I took the total cost that the sign company gave, where they did all the work, okay? And I should have seen the other one where it was 32,068. Of course, that one includes 0 for the Public Works Department. Now, I don't know if the Public Works is coming in on their days off to do it, but for the concrete footing, but I mean, there's a cost there. That's not in the 32.
I've got a solution.
Yeah.
The people that have submitted those forms,
Did they leave a phone number or an email?
This is public information, isn't it?
Well, the first one was an
Well, I don't
email.
know.
The first one was an
The reason
email that
why
I
I'm
forwarded.
asking is, if someone informed them of this, there's always talk, and you know where I'm going with this. So why not, when the website is up and running, people can email the town office, oh, I wanna get put on that list for emails to keep me informed on what's going on. Remember that website thing, you could do the link thing? I know it's not up and running yet, again. You know, between the
I get plenty of
emails,
emails from the town office, believe me.
the emails, we're gonna do a Facebook page, right, just for information. They'll have that. And then we'll have the sign out front, and they can't say they haven't been informed. Right? Am I wrong?
Can you imagine
If they
all
want to be
hell
informed,
breaking
they'll contact you.
Somebody will always.
I'd like to say something about that. I believe that the individual has some responsibility
That's
to
right.
find out what's going on.
That's right.
It's not up to us to go out and babysit every person, tell them, well, we're gonna have a meeting tomorrow night, so you better come if you want.
Well, we have a calendar on the website.
Yeah. Listen, I can put up with a law, but this is getting ridiculous.
I know, it is.
Yeah.
A couple of statements. Number one, I'm a taxpayer. Number two, I voted for the select board. We voted you guys in to do a job, right? The sign is out of the budget that was already committed. Thing that you guys have control over. Am I right on that?
Yes.
So, as a taxpayer, I voted you guys to do a job. You're doing it. If you don't like the select board that we have doing it, then they can step up and run and they can be the select board. Otherwise, just keep your mouth shut. They're doing their job. They're looking out for the town. They're doing the best they can do. If you don't like it, run for a selectman.
I think we should have more people running. You should run.
Yeah, I wanna
What
say
do you-
something, I wanna say something about that too.
Yeah,
We've got an opening right now, as far as I know, we got one person running.
Right.
I know.
So I just want people to know.
Yes.
But if they don't like it, then they need to come to these meetings and make their mouth, open their mouths and voice their opinion so it can be discussed. Otherwise, let you guys do your job.
I'm glad you said just that. I had meant to say something earlier when we were addressing the playground. I took this office July 1st of last year, 24. Frank was on the board for the year prior to that. And that playground, nobody ever came to the board and said, hey, you know, that playground is screwed up. We need to have that playground fixed, or any complaints about the playground at all. Nothing. And yeah, when I was sent that picture, I was like, holy shit. Nobody said anything to me at all. And I want to stress to the taxpayers, I hope that I have portrayed, since I've been the chairman, that I don't kick any can down the road, that I address, if you come to us with a problem, that we address it. I don't kick anything down the road. You know, if this would have been brought, you know, even late last year, January, middle of January, I could have had it on the ballot. You know, folks, give us the opportunity. If there's something that you need done, bring it to us. By all means, you know, I'll make sure. You know, when I came in with that whole thing and had to make that decision to be fiscally responsible for the entire town and close that playground down, first thing I did, where can we get some money? I went to see the treasurer. We figured out where we could get money without asking the taxpayers to take anything out of their pocket. That could have been addressed last year. We could have been eyeball deep doing a new playground. But people don't bring the problems to us. They want to sit back, do this, bump their gums. Afford me the opportunity, folks. I'm here to serve you. That's what I agreed to do for 3 years. Bring it to us. We will do what we need to do. Like I said earlier, worst case scenario, it at least starts a conversation to see if we can come up with a good resolution and something to take care of business for the entire town. Bring it to us.
I'd just like to address Chad. You said when people vote for the selectmen, you know, they want them to. Well, before I ran for selectman, I put other things in the newspapers that I had concerns about before I even intended to run for selectman.
No,
I'm just saying, no, let me finish. So when people voted for me, they knew I had put stuff in the paper before to inform them of things and, you know, not try to influence their vote. But so that's part of the reason I think people might have voted for me. I don't know why they voted for me.
Okay, but let me rebuttal that.
I don't even know why I ran.
You ran for selectman. You wanted to try and make a change.
Right.
So you stepped up. It's the ones that want to do this or this on the keyboards. If you can't come up with an objective opinion or help come up with a solution, shut up.
Well, no, I'm just saying that's why I went for select. I didn't run the selectmen to make the change. I ran to contribute. You know, well, whatever ideas I might have.
You stepped up to run to help do something in the town.
Yeah, just to apply my ideas and see what the opinions are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah.
You're trying to help
Yeah.
and make a solution.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. If they want to do this, they come in, give you guys a chance to come up with a solution or find out what the problem is. They're not doing that.
All right. And there'll be some mistakes. I mean, that's part of my,
Oh, yeah.
I come in raw, I'm learning, so, and the other selectmen, so,
We
yeah,
voted for you guys to do a job, so let you guys do your job.
right. Thank you, I agree.
Okay. We have another complaint. I have issues with the toxic artificial scent that is used in the town office. Every time I go in there, I get an intense headache and sore throat. If the office ladies want those scents in their homes, I don't care, but a lot of people are super sensitive to synthetic perfume, air fresheners, and I don't believe they should be allowed in public offices. Ma'am, I'll let you address that.
I don't know what it is. No.
Change the seat.
We have those little things that,
Yeah.
you know,
I don't know. I remember
the little spray things like in the bathroom. I think there's one in the hall.
Oh.
But
I'm pretty sensitive about that. I haven't smelled this.
We know you're sensitive, Frank.
Yeah.
So basically, sense don't make sense.
Oh. I'll let you address that.
okay. All right, we'll take care of it.
I'm glad she does have something that smells better than that, because, you know, there's a lot of stank people in there.
Mhm.
Just saying. Okay, there's a compliment on this one. Honestly, I don't know how to approach this one.
Because it's a compliment.
Because it's a compliment.
Well, yes, ma'am. But it's a okay. I would like to acknowledge the amount of time and hard work Select Chair Rick Emery has put in since July of 2024. Normally, there is a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes for this position that goes unnoticed, but this past fiscal year has been incredibly challenging. With transition to a new and successful team in the town office, new ordinances which required multiple public hearings, new ADA repairs, financial stabilization, town-wide property reassessments, property tax increase, fallouts from previous board, and the list goes on. His leadership has been strong, fair, and consistent. He is always available to the community, offering various ways to reach him. This is how to lead your community. Thank you for your commitment and listening to what the town needs. So, appreciate the compliment, but I want to point out it's the board and the town employees that have made all of this happen, not me. I've not made a whole lot happen. Without these people doing the things and making the things happen, that they're the ones that deserve the credit. But I appreciate it.
It's true, but you need a strong leader.
Yep.
It's refreshing, yeah.
You haven't smelled me lately.
Don't be close to it.
We need more candles.
Yes.
We got a cat fight going on back here.
I don't deal with two-legged. I don't deal with two-legged cat fights.
Okay, 5/3, Saturday, May 3rd, 8:30 to 12, Valley Cleanup Day. That's going on. I'm sure the rec director will be putting out, usually set up a dumpster, tables, bags, gloves, the whole 9 yards out in front of the community center.
So we bring the trash here.
To the community center.
Well, no, I mean, the community center.
No, I don't want you to bring your trash here, Deb.
No, normally they leave them in the street at certain locations.
Yeah, and we go around and pick it up, right?
Oh, okay, so
Yep.
we still do that.
Yeah, yeah,
You pick up all your trash bags and supplies at.
Right, right.
but not your stuff,
No,
okay?
Leave your garbage home.
Doesn't long enough.
And you're not going to the community center to get trash. No.
This is for the sign, the electrical contractors. Yeah, yeah, okay. We've already done this. This is for the electrical part. So you're, okay. That's for the ditching the, because you're gonna hook into the panel at the cop shop. We have a internet comparison, consolidated Spectrum and Starlink. Current plan is $326 a month, and that's for 4 buildings. This office, the rec, public works, and the fire department.
Which one's 326?
That is consolidated, what we currently have.
Okay.
Spectrum, it's $450-ish a month with a $400 install. Starlink, we buy the equipment, and then it's $435 a month. There's, let's see. So we'll have 4 IP addresses, correct?
Yes, and that is a monthly expense too, but it's added into the
Okay.
bottom line.
So, did we find out what Starlink was to buy the equipment?
No,
No.
no. And where everyone's going with Spectrum right now, that
They're not
some
happy.
people, some people might have Starlink equipment they want to get rid of, so
Ooh.
that's what I was thinking.
Ooh, it's all over marketplace.
Mm,
Yeah.
If that's the way we wanted to go, but I don't see any reason to rush into anything
Yeah,
right now.
Consolidated's still kicking.
And I Consolidated had on their website about fiber,
Could I
and
just
I called them,
just-
but they don't have
Their own
it, Consolidated doesn't
decisions.
have it in this location, so.
give this to you.
Yeah.
Something I want to do this fiscal year, or next fiscal year.
Maybe next, that's a lot of money, I don't know what to. It
Put this
is
in here.
part of the ADA, but.
Keep it under, yeah,
What is it?
new flooring for example.
Flooring,
Hold on, in the office here?
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Okay. So draft land use ordinance and proposed zoning map for the planning board's review. Joe, when will you guys be doing this?
We just got it last Wednesday, electronically, so we're just starting to review it. Everybody's looking at it and coming up with, questions. But on May 13th, we're having a workshop with Southern Maine Planning and Development, to raise our questions, our initial questions with it. And then, once we get all that ironed out, then, I can think time to get it out to everybody. But we do have our survey was due, yesterday.
Yep.
So we have a meeting tonight. We'll check with, Pam and see how many responses we got. And it was with Survey Monkey, so it should be pretty quick. And there were only 6 questions.
Shoot me a reminder, I'll be there for that.
May 13th?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. You have anything, man?
Nope.
So,
What's that?
right?
Thank you.
It's bad.
Just one thing.
Yep.
The Tracy family event is Saturday
Yep.
at the community center.
Okay.
Center. Doors open up at 4:30 for viewing the raffle items, and I think dinner starts at 5. And it's only until 7, I think, 7 o'clock, so lots of stuff and lots of food.
Sweet.
Come hungry.
I usually do. Yes, sir.
With the revenue sharing from the state, do you know how long it's been, when that was first initiated? And the money that we had received, has that been accounted for in previous years?
Couldn't answer either one of those questions. I don't know. I can remember, and I spoke to you, Bill, we got a brief, we talked about it, and it was, I'm 99% sure it was a quarterly thing. We were getting 20 to 30 grand, but it was quarterly. It was never a monthly thing. But as far as the length of time, I have no idea. I was definitely shocked when Lynn said, "Hey, we get this every month." Because I even looked at her when she said that. I'm like, "Sure, any quarterly?" No. So then she poked fun at me and ran up and grabbed it and said, "Here, dummy, look at this. This is the deal." And yeah, so I was definitely shocked. I mean, that's just 3 quarters at 196,000. So, yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yes, sir, it is. Yep. Make one hell of a playground, wouldn't it?
And it'd be nice to know what happened to it in previous years.
Yeah, agreed. Yes, sir.
You mentioned bring up anything you have concerns about. For 3 or 4 years, we've been talking about the bridge on Misty Lane.
Oh, yeah, we got a guy that's coming out that's gonna give us the pricing on the single span to go. And I actually had a conversation with Cliff last week. That guy's he's the one that did the span over on Sam Brown Hill Road, same guy, for this over here. And we talked about the paving as well for Misty Lane. Yep, it's in the works.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So they're gonna replace the bridge, not just the
Yeah.
guardrails?
Correct.
Yeah, okay,
Yep, just do a single span.
yeah,
Just like over on Old County Road.
Yeah.
Or Sam Brown.
that's Sam Brown Hill, yeah, I've seen it.
And do it that way. That way we don't have to redo the
Right.
abutments, because we can go further out, set it down. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question, for Lynn. Do you have to pay a percentage if you use a debit card?
Yes, it's 2.6%.
For debit card?
For debit and credit card, yeah.
But if you use your check,
If you use your check over the counter, it's nothing. There's no.
Okay, well, I paid my taxes online.
Online, if you use
And I
a,
had to
if,
pay $20.
it was, if you use a check, like the EFT, you just enter your check and your routing number, it's $2.95 online.
Just to clarify, that 2.6 has nothing to do with town, that's the credit cards. That goes straight to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a merchant service for that. So that
Mhm.
2.6 is added on, they don't control that, that's the credit card machine itself.
And on your statement, you'll see the amount that went to town of Brownfield, and then the amount, you'll see whatever it was, the 2.6% will say government windows. It's a separate merchant. The merchant collects the money, gives us what's coming to us and takes that fee.
My taxes and had an extra 20. And it was like, wow, I should use my checkbook.
Yeah, yes.
Anybody else? Okay. Last chance.
I'm good.
Thank you.
All right, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, everybody.
Here, they-